What's up, Internet? I hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday, and I wanted to give you my thoughts on the latest episode of Rebels Ghosts of Geonosis. I love this episode in, again, so many ways, just like with the trailer. Probably the biggest thing that I liked about this episode was the visuals and the cinematography and the sound design. They did a really, really good job with providing us with a sense of tension, at least in my experience. I was actually concerned about the rebels. I was worried about Zeb and Sabine as they were trying to pull that shield generator core away from the rest of the housing. I was worried about the rest of the rebels while they were down below in the caves with chasing down the Geonosian. The other cool stuff that I really liked about this episode was the jetpacks. Jetpack stormtroopers were awesome. I was happy to see how they give us more and more different types of stormtroopers. We're getting a lot more variants of stormtroopers than we got in Legends, which is exciting. You get new bad guys every single episode, every single movie, every single comic, etc., etc. Um, and it gives us a new way for us to identify those Imperials or those bad guys. Um, the humor in this episode was done really well in that it didn't rely too heavily on Chopper. I love Chopper. Don't get me wrong. I adore Chopper. Uh, he's the next pop figure that I'll be buying, and probably as soon as he gets a Black Series, I'm buying that in a second. But he's a little bit overutilized as the comic relief for the TV show Rebels, and he's even all over the Star Wars report too. Or excuse me, not the Star Wars report. That's a podcast. The Star Wars show over on Star Wars official channel. Um, and I'm glad to see that most of the humor was shifted to the rest of the characters. And Chopper didn't really do too much in this episode. Um, let's see here. What else? I really liked that we got a female captain. Super evil Galactic Empire still is into gender equality. I'm cool with that. They still need to stay speciesist because, well, uh, you know, makes sense for the Empire. But I'm glad to see that they're still representing the genders relatively equally. At least they're starting to move from comics to books and into the TV show and hopefully into movies. I'd like to see like a Star Destroyer captain or admiral or something like that in Episode 8, or maybe in the Han Solo trilogy or something like that, or the Han Solo trilogy, Han Solo movie. Please don't let it be a trilogy. Anyways, um, let's see here. I guess we can move on to the characters. Kanan was freaking Bamf. Oh my god. I had no idea that he had that kind of power at all. I mean, when he caught that bridge and then like rotated it and held it there while Rex and Saw crossed, and then he, just kind of, yeah, 100 yard leap. Yeah, I can do that. Cool. Wee! That was awesome. And I'm wondering, we haven't seen him get that kind of power before. We've seen Ezra have that kind of power, but he was tapping into the Sith holocron and the dark side and stuff like that. So I'm wondering whether or not with good lord, I can't remember the thing's name. The thing over on Chopper Base. Uh the Bendu. There we go. The Bendu's teachings or the way that the Bendu enlightened Kanan. I'm not sure whether or not that unlocked some sort of power within him or if he's just getting more confident or what's going on with that, but it's still freaking cool to see. Sabine is, as always, super freaking cool. I'm glad that she got her jetpack back. She is still super overpowered, and I'm okay with that. I know that a lot of people don't like how she's being represented as this almost perfect character. She doesn't really have any character flaws other than maybe her past being a little bit murky. And other than that, she's a crazy good fighter. She can repair anything. She's a demolitions expert. She can fly a jetpack. She's pretty much everything that the rebels need her to be in that particular episode. So, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with a single really, really crazy character, and that makes me like Sabine. I don't know. Maybe it's just that I like overpowered characters Mm. I liked Hera. Vanessa Marshall delivered her lines amazingly well, as always. She definitely has this authoritative feeling, which I'm happy that we're getting back, especially with previously in the season, in the first half of season three. Hera kind of took a back seat, with the exception of Hera's Heroes, in that she was kind of the leader, and then she kind of stopped being the leader for that part of the season three, and now she seems to really be back in control again without constantly delegating missions to Ezra or Zeb or Kanan or Sabine or whatever. I'm glad that we're getting that. We're getting more of Hera. One of my favorite podcasts that I listen to refers to her as a glorified bus driver, and it's just like, no, that's not what she deserves to be, and they agree. But anyways, I liked Ezra and especially his relationship with Saw. We're still seeing it. It helped to inform me what Ezra was thinking, and where he's at morally at this point in the timeline. He's still a good kid, but he doesn't quite have the faith in being that good kid to really interfere. He kind of, says, "No, wait, Saw, stop torturing him. It's don't do that. You need to stop doing that. Come on, Ezra. You could put down Saw in a second. Seriously? Like it come on, man." It just but I think that he doesn't quite have that faith in himself to do the right thing yet. At least that's kind of how I'm reading it. I could be reading into it way too much, and it could just be that Saw is incredibly powerful. I don't know. As for the secondary and tertiary characters like Bale and Saw, I'm liking the consistency with the character themes. Bale's obsession with humanitarianism, Saw's ruthlessness. It's an easy thing to overlook, and they didn't do that. They, I could see this Bale evolving into the Bale that we see in Rogue One, and I can see this Saw evolving into the Saw that we see in Rogue One. Which, again, it's an easy thing to overlook, and they didn't do that. I guess the only downside that I had is just one thing that was missing that I wanted to see, and I'm hoping that it either shows up later on in the season or in a comic or a book somewhere, and that's how Saw's lungs and vocal cords get damaged. I think in one of the source books, it tells us that Saw was messed up and his voice became so weird because of his because he was exposed to geonosis and nerve gas. Well, they find geonosis and nerve gas, and then it doesn't do anything. Like they just grab it, and it doesn't actually like. There's no catastrophic explosion. There's no accidental exposure to it or anything like that. It just kind of okay. I would think that the way that Saw Gerrera would be exposed is when he's on Geonosis. I don't quite. I'm not quite sure why we're not getting that, and it looks like we might be getting Saw in later episodes too. So we'll see. We'll see whether or not that shows up there. But yeah, I guess that about does it for me, guys. That's all my thoughts on the ghosts of Geonosis. But I want to know what you guys think. I'm super interested in what you thought in terms of characters that you liked, characters that you didn't like. Did you not like this episode, and why? Leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you there. You can also follow me on social media, which is also linked in the description down below, Twitter and Instagram, or my Twitch stream, which is twitch.tv/Korotonic, KOROTANIK, where I hold a live stream every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we usually go until about 2 o'clock in the morning. But anyways, that about does it for me, and I will see you guys either on the Twitch stream or the next time that I feel the need to puke my thoughts into a microphone. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.